If you've recently lost someone and there's a house involved, you're probably trying to figure out what you're actually supposed to do with it. Can you sell it right away? Do you need to fix it up first? Should you keep it in the family? And on top of all that, you're dealing with everything else that comes with losing someone. I've been through it myself and I've helped others through it as well, so I know it's not easy. What I'd like to do here is just walk you through how this typically works in Missouri in plain English so you at least have a clear picture of what to expect. My name is Walt, and I work with people here in Southwest Missouri, helping them figure out what to do with a home when it becomes part of an estate. I'm not an attorney, and this isn't legal advice. I'm just trying to be helpful. And if you need an attorney, I can make a recommendation. Just let me know. So first, let's get the basics out of the way. Probate is simply the legal process of settling someone's estate. That usually means confirming that the will is real and legal and identifying all the assets owned by the deceased, paying off any debts that were left behind, and then taking what's left and dividing it up amongst the heirs. If there's a house involved and it was owned in that person's name alone, then it'll probably be part of the probate process. Now, if the process was in a trust and deeded in the name of the trust, that's a different situation. The trustee can usually manage those assets directly. But assuming that we're talking about probate and not a trust, there's one important thing to understand right away. This process is going to take some time. It's not something that wraps up in a couple of weeks, and the more complicated the situation is, the longer it'll take. Could take several months. And if there isn't a will at all, the court will appoint someone to handle the estate. Missouri law will determine how the assets are distributed. That process still works, but it can take a few additional steps and may take a little longer, especially if multiple people are involved in the decisions about the property. So naturally, the next question is, what happens to the house? And probably more specifically, can you sell it? Or do you have to sell it? Well, the answer is, it depends. In Missouri, there are two ways an estate in probate can be handled: independent administration and supervised administration. If you're the executor of the estate, meaning you were named the executor in the will, that's really just another word for being named the administrator. And you're probably an independent administrator, but you do need to verify that. Hopefully, the will very clearly identifies you as an independent administrator with the power to dispose of assets like selling the house. But even if that is the case, it doesn't mean that the judge has no power, so no assumptions. I'm sure you know what happens when you assume. And there can be a lot of things that'll make the situation more complicated. You might have someone try to contest the will. You can have creditors or people with a lien against the property try to block the sale for some reason. The judge might want to enforce a longer waiting period to give interested parties a chance to be notified. So even if you are empowered to liquidate assets, it doesn't mean you can just list the house tomorrow. So get with your attorney just to make sure that everything's lining up the way that it should. Now, on the other hand, a supervised administrator is one that's appointed by the court, which is what happens if there is no will. But the judge can also appoint a supervised administrator to take your place if they lose faith in your ability to handle things. And that can happen for a lot of different reasons, which we don't need to go into here. Suffice it to say, a supervised administrator will have to get everything cleared with the judge before they do anything, and that will slow down the process. And it's also more expensive because you have to pay for that supervised administrator. Now, if you're wondering if you have to sell the house, that depends on the will and the finances of the estate. If the deceased made it clear in their will that they want the house to go to a specific heir, then the math will probably be more complicated, so you'll need to let the probate process play out like it's supposed to. On the other hand, if the only way to pay off the debts is to sell the house, then the court will require that the house is sold, regardless of what the will says, unless you can come up with a different way to pay off those debts. Now, even when you can sell the home, a probate sale is a little bit different from a typical real estate transaction. A few things tend to come into play. The big difference is timing. Because probate is ongoing while you're trying to sell the house, closing timelines can be slower and less predictable, especially if you're dealing with supervised administration, meaning the judge has to approve each step of the process. Second, there may be multiple decision makers involved. And if there are several heirs or co-executors, everyone usually has to be on the same page, and sometimes that's easier said than done. And if everyone can't agree, that's when the judge gets to settle the argument, which of course slows things down. And third, there are extra disclosures required. Buyers need to know it's a probate property, and some buyers will approach that a little more cautiously. It can also be a challenge to make sure every heir is located and informed of the estate, and every creditor needs to be informed as well. And that's important because even if the deceased wanted to leave the house to their favorite grandchild, the court may require the house be sold to pay off those creditors. A lot of probate homes are sold as is because the executor and the heirs are just tired and they're ready to move on, so they don't want to bother with fixing or updating anything. But there are pros and cons to consider. Selling as is means you can list it faster and maybe sell it more quickly, but the downside is you'll be chasing off the largest part of the potential buyers who aren't looking for a project. They just want to move in. And that usually means you're left with bargain shoppers, investors, property flippers, and people on a tight budget. But if you can be patient and you're willing to hire a handyman, there are small targeted improvements that can usually make a noticeable difference in how the home shows and what buyers are willing to pay. We're talking about things like a good deep cleaning, clearing out all the personal property, some light landscaping for curb appeal, fresh coat of paint, that kind of stuff. And sometimes that kind of work can be done without requiring a lot or maybe any upfront money. If you're early in the process, meaning things have just recently happened, there are a few simple things that you need to take care of right away. First, secure the property. Change the locks, make sure the insurance is paid up, maybe install a security camera or two, maybe some motion detector lights. There are plenty of unsavory people out there that look at recent deaths as opportunities for break-ins. Second, gather your documents, things like the deed, mortgage information, tax records. Having those all set aside will make everything easier later on. Third, get a realistic idea of the value of the home, not a guess, an actual market-based opinion. And I'm not talking about Zillow. If you want help with that, let me know. Fourth, check for any title issues early on. Liens and ownership questions can slow things down if they aren't addressed. And last, but certainly not least, you do need to talk to a probate attorney. And as I mentioned earlier, if you'd like a recommendation, let me know. Now, where I tend to fit into all of this is helping coordinate the real estate side of things and making the process feel more manageable. That can include working alongside your attorney to make sure everything lines up from a legal standpoint, helping keep communication clear if there are multiple people involved, and walking through the practical decisions around the property itself, like timing and pricing and what repairs, if any, are worth doing before putting it on the market. I can also help with some of the logistical pieces that can come up, like coordinating clean out, working with contractors, or getting the home ready to show, especially in situations where no one is living on the property. And then when it does come time to sell, making sure the home is presented and marketed in a way that actually gets attention from buyers, because the reality is, even in probate, the home is still competing with every other home on the market, and how it shows up online and in person make a noticeable difference in the outcome. There's no perfect way to handle this. Every situation is a little different, every family is a little different, and the right path isn't always clear right away. Like I said earlier, I've been through loss in my own life too, and I know that sometimes the house is just one more thing on a long list of things you're trying to sort out. So if you're feeling unsure and overwhelmed, cut yourself some slack. It's normal. I put together a written guide that covers the information that I just talked about, and if you already have a copy of it in hand, that may be how you found this video. If you don't have that guide yet, let me know. I'll be happy to send you one. Either way, if questions come up, I'm available if you need anything. And if you know someone who's going through this, share the video with them. And in the meantime, you take care of yourself. You got this.